Okay, I just wanted to see this video where this guy and cameraman goes about every car, and I wanted to think out loud about my opinion of the cars. So I kind of decided to record myself doing this. I mean, maybe some people are interested. I'm going to be talking about my opinion of every car of the new expansion of Boss Monster, Rise of the Minibosses. About my opinion of how fun I think the car is how, how good it is for the gameplay of the game, and how balanced it is, which are two different metrics. So I am just going to go over his video, read every car, and then give my thoughts. Maybe someone will enjoy this, uh, or help, uh, or help them in some way. I want to make clear that my vision for this is I like to play Rise of the Minibosses. I like to play Boss Monster, deck building my decks, trying to add the optimal cards to create the best gameplay and the best balance. So I'm going to evaluate the card from that point of view, right? How good is going to be this card to add to that deck? So let's go. You a Pixie Fountain. You might destroy this room to gain 1 coin for every round you have. I think this card balance-wise is pretty okay. I mean, it will give you like 2 to 4 coins, and uh, this is going to be useful when you want, those rooms that you destroy yourself to try your other cards. Destroy rooms are always great for that, and it's good to have that kind of effect. I think balance-wise it's pretty okay. I think spectacular, but not too weak. And I think it's a good card to have. It's good to have some card in the game that gives you coin by sacrificing the room. So this might go in some of my decks. Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod. Once per turn, if a hero dies in this room, gain 3 coins. I love this card. I'm a fan of kill room cards, and the reason for this is one of the problems of boss monster is resource hoarding. Like in Japanese RPG, you just want to to save all those resources, spells and special cards for that moment where the epic heroes come. And this might lead to a very boring early game. But kill rooms change that dynamic, because now you want to really bring those heroes to kill them and gain those resources. So I really love this, that there is some room for that gives you coins. So great card. Uh, Very happy with it. Trophy room. Um, Again, most of the gold cards in Rise of the Mini Bosses give you coins, and they try to cover all the areas. We have one that gives you gold when you sacrifice, one when you kill a hero, and now you have one when you build it or uncover. I think these rooms are fine to have. Uh, of course, if you want uh, your deck to have a coin production, you want this kind of cards, and I think balance wise is pretty okay. I mean, I'm not super excited about this card, but I think it's balance, and uh, balance wise and fun wise, it's pretty good. Personal office. Here's another way to gain coins, and this time it's when an opponent's plays where it promotes the mini boss. It's not power wise, it's fine. I mean, when you play that, if your opponent wants to take full power of a mini boss, it's going to give you early on. If you build it early on, it's going to have to give you like those coins to you, which is like 2, 3 coins. And then if you want to play another mini boss, that's going to it's going to become a serious problem for him. So I think this card it's more oriented to multiplayer, where the power of the card is going to be more consistent. And here, I mean, it's just you have a very tiny window to use this card, so I don't think I have to clarify here that most of my games are two players. That's how I play Boss Monster. I don't think it's a great game at the bigger numbers. It may be fine for you. I just don't enjoy it. So all my talk about balance here is going to be thinking about two-player games. And in two-player games, I think this guy is fine, but I doubt this guy is going to make my decks because his power is going to be very inconsistent, maybe on the side of weak, and I don't find the gameplay very exciting. You just play it, and then your opponent has to decide if it's worth to play his mini-boss or not. Not very happy with this card. Moving on. Okay, to Red Mill. Now we are going to go into Thief's rooms. Once per ball, place a coin in this room. This room has one extra power for every one coin on it. And if you cannot place a coin on this room, destroy it. I really like this room. It's something new. It's something that I like. I think it fits very well the Thief theme of you just have to risk and invest for a power in a card. I think it's very thematic. I really like it. On the other hand, power-wise, I'm not sure yet. I think it's a little on the side of weak, but I can be completely wrong here. I mean, it actually can be very strong. I'm not sure of this card. I mean, the problem is that the turn you build it, you cannot place a coin on it, right? So it starts as a 2, which is very poor, and then the next turn is a 3. So only at the other turn you have a 4. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe if you build this very early on, but then you have, I don't know. It's a very interesting card. So I'm happy it exists, and I think that's all the important I have to say about this. Um, Fun card, interesting card. Balance wise, it can go either way, but it seems balanced. So I'm very happy with it. Now it comes to my first big complaint: Living Trap. You must destroy a monster from your dungeon to kill a hero in this room. Whoever played a lot with Bottom Ramp and Bottomless Pit on the first boss monster knows how powerful it is to sacrifice a room to destroy a hero. The problem is most of the action in the game goes into earning the epic heroes, and I think the game is more fun when the epic heroes are actually threatening, right? You need to invest resources to kill an epic hero. With this, suddenly epic heroes become completely irrelevant. You just, I mean, destroying a monster room to just get rid of an epic hero without chance of that epic hero doing anything about it, not with any help of your opponent. It's just, I think it's just too sad. I mean, this is a terrible card. I really don't want it in my games. Power-wise, it's our power. I mean, Bottomless Speed was a very powerful card. This is just insane. You just mainly all your monster rooms become Bottomless Pits, and even versus early on, 3 power is fine. So I don't see the weakness of this card. It's maybe almost Crashinator level. Not happy with it. Not going to be in my decks. Yes, just avoid. So my second complaint, paywall. You can read this card, and this is a very weak card. I mean, the card has 4 power, which some advanced rooms have already with an ability, a positive ability, and this one has a drawback. I mean, why? It's probably the worst advanced room in the game. Maybe exception with some exception with Monsters Valve Room, but I don't get it. I don't get this card. I don't get what this card exists. This card should be 5, even maybe 6 power. With 4? It's just not going to my deck. It's a very weak card. It's a shame because I really like the concept. The concept is great. It's too weak to be part of any deck and not be really a sad inclusion. So moving on, Endless Gallery. This card is actually reverse. This card fine. I mean, we already have a similar card in next level with the Decimator. What's the name? I don't remember. But it's a very similar card. Great card. I happy it exists. Just moving on. I mean, maybe it's just redundant with the next level card, but I mean, I don't have any problem with just that. I mean, the deck was designed to be played alone as a standalone, and this is a great card to have. So it's okay. Nothing new, but a good card. The Catapult. Oh boy. What can I say about this card? I really love the concept of this card. I'm very sad. I think it was not exploited well enough. The concept that to me the thief rooms should be about disabling your opponent, right? And until now, mage rooms used to do that, which to me makes no sense. That seems a thief, no? I mean, the thief goes. I mean, it should be about building your traps, disabling their traps. So on one hand, I'm very happy with systems this card. I mean, I'm very. I wish there was more cards like this. I can't stress this enough. On the other hand, first it seems completely overpowered to me in a way, and on the other hand, it seems super weak. So what do you mean with that? The variance of this card is going to be very hard, very high. If you have several mini bosses in your hand, this can be game winning on the spot. If you have like 3 mini bosses in your hand, this is going to be in the nets. And this raises the value of mini bosses, which are great cards already, to insane levels. So on the other hand, if you don't have mini bosses, obviously this card is useless. So what do you think about this card? I don't know. I just so polarized, so mixed feelings. This card might be great, or it might be terrible. Uh, I don't know. I'm going to test them in several games, but overall, it's very likely I end removing this card from the game. Um, I mean, it's going to be very sad when one player plays the catapult and then have 3 mini bosses, and then it's just about to go say, okay, you lost. Right? I just, I mean, to be fair, it should be like you should discard 2 rooms to deactivate another room. I think that's how it would be balanced. Like this, I'm sorry, too strong. Moving on. Southern Pendulum. This room basically for 1 coin does 3 damage. It's not as good. It's actually weaker than that because you can only do it for once per turn, and you can only kill a hero if already has only 3 damage left. So actually, I like the card. It seems a little on the weak side, but it's a good way. I mean, it's a very thematic way for I think a thief to spend their coins. Right? That's exactly what I expect from thieves. Spend coins to do that, to do better, for the traps to do more damage. So, I mean, thematically is fine. Balance-wise, seems a little weak, but I think I like this card. Moving on. Unstable Mind, you might destroy this room to gain 3 coins. If you ask me, very boring card. I mean, I mean, I know that there was a gold card. I don't remember now the name. That you sacrifice. There are 2 actually. You sacrifice 1 coins, but those, at least you had this. You know, you need to have certain requirements, and there was some. This is just like more boring version of those cards. So there's nothing good I can say about this. Balance wise is fine. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't think this card is going to make my decks. This is a very boring card. I mean, it's not the worst, but I think the game can do better. Um, Garbage chute. This is this is an interesting car. I mean, I'm not saying going to say it's great. It depends. You be able to destroy rooms. Uh, I know what to say. It's not a wow. It's not an impressive car. Balance wise seems fine. Um, fun wise is okay. I mean, it's reasonable. I just I don't know. It's just nothing interesting to say about this car really. There's Quarry when you build a uncovered room, draw a room car, another very boring car. I mean, just I it's not weak. I mean, just, when you build a RAM, build this car just to draw another room. Okay. I mean, when you consider you have spellcaster row, when you draw a spell, which drawing a spell is generally better than drawing a card, and you had this, it's like, it's true that this card has two black coins, so that kind of balances. I mean, I guess it's okay. Balance wise, it's a little on the weak side, but okay. Fun wise, doesn't do anything for me, but it's not terrible. Moving on. Magic Peel, I hate this card. I'm just going to openly say it. I mean, I've said that one of the problems with the game is that hoarding spell cards is very pronounced, and this card rewards you for that. Why you reward someone for doing something that is annoying? Just no, just no. Move on. Discard this card, burn it, throw it away. I hate it. I don't think it's balanced honestly either. You can't drop this card very early on and then just draw a few spells and have a 5-6 power card. Yeah, it's not balanced, it's not interesting, it's throw it. Very strong card, by the way. I like it. Every chamber. Now you have an interesting card. Maybe a little too strong, you can draw a card every turn, but it does no damage. Uh, but you have, if you wanted to do damage, you had to discard a spell. I really like this card. Maybe it's a little on the side of too strong, maybe, but it's great design. I mean, it's you have every turn decision, um, where the, you want to lure a hero, but if you lure a hero, you have this weak card, and if you don't lure it, you can draw a spell. Just a very interesting card. Not super amazing, but definitely a good thumbs up for it. I really like its existence. Definitely going to make my decks. Um, maybe I make my two copies eventually. So let's see. Crystal Ballroom. Very not much to say. If you read this card, it's just a way for mage rooms to spend coins for spells, which is great. Um, Balance-wise is great. Mechanically is great. I really like this card. It's not a simple card, but it's simple for me to just say great in every sense. Loot books, another way to spend your coins to drop spells. Great. I mean, I really like this card. Power wise, okay, curse one. This I hate this card. And here's why I hate this card. There's a cycle of these cards in Rise of the Minibosses when you discard it from to make an effect, a powerful effect, I may add. And I hate it. And the reason is you won't ever build this card. I mean, you can say 2 power or 0 power is the same. You will never build this card. You need to be extremely desperate. Their effects are more powerful than an average room card in general, right? Remember, for example, in you draw a spell, and spells are generally a little stronger than rooms. But there are rooms that give you a spell, but you have to build it. You don't have to build it. You just discard the card and you get the spell. If you don't want the spell, you can get 2 coins. I mean, one of the problems of boss monster is that even if you draw extra rooms, it's very hard to make use of them. But now, with this card, it's very easy, and with a powerful effect. I mean, what's it might be it's a spell in room the room pile. It's very boring. It's not there's no decision to be made. It's just a random variance. Yeah, yes. I please give me. I want to grab this kind of card a lot. I mean, just power wise. I mean, I really hate this card. I hate the whole cycle. Every time one card of this card appears, I'm going to criticize it the same way. They're extremely powerful cards, extremely boring. Just I don't know how why these cards exist. So moving on. Mind Treasure, a kill room. You know, I already said I love kill rooms, and this is great. You did have to decide to give up on one soul for one extra spell card. I mean, for two spell cards in this case, but compared to other to to Mind Sucker Hive, which does similar thing. I love kill rooms. This is a great one. Nothing else to say. Probably is going to make my decks for sure. At least one copy. The problem is mage rooms have a lot of great rooms, so it's going to be that. But for sure, one copy is going to make. I love this card. Nothing else to say. The rooms are great. Black Market. Once per turn, when a room in a dungeon is destroyed, you might pay one coin to draw a spell card. Uh, on one hand, on one hand, I really like this card. On one hand, I like the idea of giving paying coins to draw spell cards, and there is an unconditional trigger, so you need to wait for that trigger to happen. I think there are a lot of interesting interactions going on here. The problem is it might be too strong. I mean, one coin for one spell is a hell of a trade. And like the loot box, you can do this several times. And maybe if you build this early on, this might be 5, 6 coins for spells. That's going to be insane. You know, it's just I don't know. It's just I'm scared of this card. It might be okay. It might be too good, but I like the card. I'm definitely going to play it more. Um, don't. I'm happy it exists. I'm happy this card exists. Uh, the design idea is great. Balance wise, might be a little too overpowered, but it's not obviously so. So let's see what happens in the future. I need more games to decide that. Alchemist Slab, one per turn when you cast a spell gain 2 coins. I love this card. Uh, Sadly, this slot for mages, like the double icon, it's uh, it's very full. I think I'm going to always play at least one, but I want to play the second one, and the reason is, like I said, hoarding spells is bad, and these incentivize you to use spells early on. So I really like it in that sense. On the other hand, you can play this later in the game and still have a great effect. So, and you can even hoard spells and just So maybe it's not that great, right? But I like the card. I think it seems balanced to me. It seems design wise, it seems a great idea. Maybe maybe in terms of result it's not going to be as great, but initially I really like this card. Definitely going to make my list. Mysterious Portal. I'm sorry, you can't read that well here. Um, well, okay, I'm going to tell you what it says because I can get a good screen. When you will uncover this card, you might discard a mini-boss to draw a spell card. I don't like this card at all. It's, I mean, I know that they wanted to make give you some uses of mini-bosses other than build with them, which I think is great. But why they couldn't make them that they count room cards? They're room cards. They take room cards in the back. Uh, you have these cards that only work if you have mini bosses, and there aren't that many of them. So I just this card doesn't do anything for me. It just makes mini bosses stronger, which they don't need. And really, it's just a spell sorcerer. Uh, that the blue the mage room where you just when you battle or recover you draw a spell card. It's just one of that, a little weaker because it has two, but because it has two icons. But I I know it just doesn't do anything for me. If you would do draw discard, you can discard any room. It would be better. But as it is, not making my list for sure. Fire elements, elemental. Once per turn, when a hero survives, okay, here it is. When a hero survives this room, gain 2 coins. This is a fine room. 4 power for any elemental room is automatically good. I mean, it doesn't need a big buff an ability to just be playable. And this one gives you 2 coins, right? So, one gives you 2 coins when a hero survives. I think the ability is kind of boring, but you have two decisions. What you want to. I need to drink some water. You have two decisions when, if you build it early on, right? Here's one survive, but you have your 4 power, and later on they're going to survive more. So you have a specific window of time when you can build this, but it's not going to be really that interesting. I think it's a fine card. Balance power, it's fine. And I think that's welcome because advanced monster rooms for fighter are very unbalanced in general. They're extremely powerful, extremely weak, and this is a very balanced card. So it's going to make my list probably because of that, if nothing else. So moving on. Doppelganger Heim. This room has one. This gives you 1 power for every hero that was learned to your dungeon this turn. I really like this card. Very balanced. Also, in addition to that, it's interesting. You want to accumulate heroes, right? To have a very powerful doppelganger hive. So really like this card. Balance. It gives you interesting gameplay. It fits fighter rooms. I'm very happy it exists. Um, this is one of the rooms that make me consider. When I make my list, I try to have one of each advanced room. But this one, it's so good for fighter advanced monster rooms that I might consider just playing the both of them. So great card, happy to success, great addition to boss monster for sure. Dragon's Nest. When you build or uncover this room, until end of turn, give every other monster room in your dungeon +1 for every creature icon that room has. Uh, in next level there is the Goblin Mezcal, which gives every other monster room +1, and it's a 3 power card. And that card I think is extremely strong. I'm almost sad how strong it is. And this is a little more balanced run than that. It's a little weaker because you need to roll it, and that you have the effect. Maybe a stronger effect, but then the next turn you don't. And if you have to uncover to have to affect the game. It's interesting to have a builder and cover room for advance. We didn't have that before, so props for that. It's still, in my opinion, a little too strong. So I'm not sure I'm going to do about this card. This might get in or might not. For now, it's in my deck list for now, but they might leave because it's a little too strong still. Better than Goblin Mezcal for sure. A little more balanced, but a little too strong. Oh. Okay. Another one of those. You discard this card and do an extremely powerful effect. We have the same card. I hate this card. It's never going to make my list. I wish they never exist. I think it's enough. Moving on. I don't know why they exist. Training camp. This is one. I mean, I like the idea. I like the idea of you discard. This is a very deep room, in my opinion. You discard resources to boost the power of your room. So in that sense, I'm not very happy with that card. Um, Again, it creates your mini bosses are very strong now. Balance wise, I think it's okay. Thematically, not so much. Um, However, and this is where I want to make the difference. My list might make use of one or two of copies of this because I need legally. I mean, you can't discard mini bosses for to do other effects that requires room cards. I don't know why that's what the rule is that, but that's the rule. So I need you to give options of something to do with your mini bosses, and this might, from all the ones in the game, this one of the most balanced ones. So I may either play with a variant where you can discard mini bosses as rooms, or I might just have to play this card because it's balanced, and I don't know. I kind of like it, but it doesn't feel like the room to me. Fetid Feast. Fetid Feast, on the other hand, it's a very fighting room. You have to play a drawback room for a very good consistent damage. 3 damage for a basic room is great. The problem is, I don't feel it's very interesting. I don't think. I mean, you will. It has. Uh, if you solve for variant hall where you have to discard a spell card, that's a very interesting decision you have to make. You have to play spells early, or you have to discard spell. You just the variant hall is an interesting card. It's a little weak, but it's interesting. This one, I you just build it. Really, I mean, you build it, and the drawback is very weak. It remembers me of Neanderthal Cave. It's not as weak drawback, but it's still a very boring car. You're just going to play it. It's a strong car. It's boring. I don't like it. I don't think it's going to ever make my deck list. Poor Leech. Wow. I mean, it's a wow because this is a callback to DSS Hall. DSS Hall is a trap in Boss Monster One. That's exactly the same with a trap, and was an extremely boring card. And why this exist? I mean, just move on. I mean, violent wise, it's okay. It's a little too good, a little too good, but it's so boring that's never going to make my list. And why this card exists? Goblin Market. This is a fine, interesting card. It kind of fits Fighter of giving you resources for building, uh, but it's overall a very like I, I like it honestly. I just compare with I like it more where you have this rooms. If you see in previous edition of Boss Monster that rewards you for building monster rooms next to this room, weak room, right? But this one is just eh, I just I don't know, it's just so boring. Nothing interesting to see here. It doesn't create an interesting gameplay. Doesn't I don't see the decision. This is a fine card. This power wise it's fine. We already hit this card in Warp Tunnel in next level. This is it's basically the same card. It's an it's okay. It's a nerf bottomless pit, which is a card that needs a nerf and can be a little more interesting because you can trigger some kill rune. Nothing much to say. Nice card. I'm happy it exists. Probably it's going to make my list. Um, I'm going to okay, yeah. Horse Vault. I really don't like that card at all. Robert's Vault. What this card does is you trade coins or hordes with your opponent. The reason I don't like this card is that decision-wise, you just play it. It's not interesting. And if there is only one copy, and you can catch your opponent off guard, you can win a lot of coins. And there is no reason to play around it. It's going to you have more coins than me. I draw this card. No, you just have a lot of less coins, and I have more coins. A very powerful effect, a random effect, so to speak. There is no gameplay around it. Maybe you can play around this card, but when there is only one copy, it doesn't make sense to do it. I don't like this card. It's strong, maybe too strong, but it's a boring card. This we already saw a similar card in beige. Uh, Basically, I'm glad this is a little more powerful because you can choose what spells you get. Uh, um, but I think this guy is needed, right? With coins to give you a way to spend your coins, and at least you do interesting decision, right? How many cards you want, how much gold, how powerful you want the room to be. Um, I think it's not. I'm not impressed by the card, but it's a good card. Balance wise, it's fine, and it's needed. I love this card. This is one of my favorite cards from the set, especially because I was very sad in general with clerics advanced rooms, and this one is I think what I wanted to see, right? Something different, something that fits the mechanic of I want heroes in my room or in my dungeon. It does it great. On the, and it gives you a way to spend coins doing that, something different. It's very balanced in my opinion. Uh, it's very thematic. It's one. I'm going straight up. It's one of my favorite cleric card, and maybe my favorite card in the whole deck. Obviously, always making room place in my deck list. Love this card. Uh, and after one of the best cards in Boss Monster, we have now one of the most boring cards in Boss Monster. And what can I say about that? The same when I say of those mini boss, right? It's just a way to make use of your mini boss. And what do? You just you play discard the mini boss, and heal a boon. I mean, it's as boring as it can get, and you just there's no decision. I mean, the only good thing is the uncover mechanic, and cover mechanics are always interesting. So I'm going to be being fair. It has the uncover thing. But otherwise, I'm not fan. I mean, I would like that these cars a lot more if you might discard two room cars, right? Now we will have an interesting car, which is not dependent of you, where its power is not dependent of you. Oh, I draw a lot of mini bosses or not. I mean, what mini bosses are great cars. Why you need to buff them? I don't get it. This is, I'm sorry, but I just don't get it. I'm this kind of cars it was making me consider to just play a different variant where you just get mini bosses during the room card. You just discard two cards to get a mini boss or something like that, you know? Because otherwise, I'm sorry that I'm so depressed, but I'm considering that variant. You know, I'm just in the build phase. You can rooms. Uh, Mini bosses are like set aside, and you discard phase. You can discard two rooms to get a mini boss. Now I can't really see these cars as not horrible. I might make my list, but as it is, I hate these cars. Um, Once per turn, when an opponent discards card, you might put it in your hand. Completely hate this card. Um, it's not weak, and it really depends how strong it is. Completely related to how many discard effects are in your deck. But uh, I don't like this card mechanic in the game, and the reason is this card mechanic. You spend resources to discard card, creates less resources in the game. That's bad for the game. The game is interesting when the players have options. If you destroy your resources to destroy opponent's resources, uh, especially as strong as they are in boss monster, you just do it, and there is resources in the game. There's no interest. It doesn't generate interesting gameplay. It just doesn't. So, really, a card that worth it. I It's not good for game. It's not good. It's power wise, it's fine. Actually, it really depends on how many discard effects are in the game in the deck. It can be extremely strong to really, I mean, weak. But I don't even care. I just don't hate discard effects. So this is never going to make my list. You may discard a card from. Yeah, I already talked about the cycle of you discard this card to do extremely powerful effects. This might be maybe the most powerful card, the most powerful room in Boss Monster. I'm serious. This might be the most powerful room in Boss Monster. It's insane. You can just discard a card to take any of your. I mean, it's basically a demonic tutor in Magic for anyone playing on a kind of way. You don't spend Magic in this game. Yeah, in this game, so it's you don't have to spend a coin and nothing. You just discard this card, get the spell, and the moment you need it, you don't ever need the build phase. You just need that counter Magic. You need that, yeah, you know, uh, defense. That defense you can decide the last second because that's what Time of the War is. It's just I want to make clear this is to me very clearly the best room in the game, and I don't know why it exists. Never going to make my leg list. I really hate it. I know I said I won't talk more about the cycle, but Jesus, seeing this card, it's like why? And War Tower when you will defroom choose an opponent. I think I already said I don't like discard effects, and this is basically discard effect. Very boring. You have discard, you play it, and nothing. There's no decision. It's just so boring. So boring. I mean, it's even random. I mean, it's so boring. I hate this card. Never gonna see him play in a dead list. Monster Academy. This is a card I want to talk about because quite a bit. No, please give me back that card. The reason is this is another of your mini bosses that are excellent. Imagine you have 3 mini bosses. You gain like 6 gold. That's insane. I mean, compare when we see how hard it's to get coins to decide. When you build, and you can encourage it to gain another 6 gold. What if you have 4 mini? It's okay. Maybe for 4 mini bosses you can claim that. But mini bosses, why mini bosses have to be so strong? I don't get it. This is another room that leads me to the variant they say. You can say, okay, remove these cards, right? And I thought the problem is, I was expecting in Rise of the Mini Bosses to give me a double cleric room that's actually playable, because if you know the double cleric rooms, in Boss Monster, they're all extremely overpowered or extremely weak. So I was praying almost that I will have a good double cleric, and you know what? This is the best there is. I mean, it's quite balanced compared to the other ones. Because in average, you gain 4 gold coins when you build, and then when you cover. I had to play them. I'm almost. Brother-wise games forced my hand, and I have to play this card. And yes, if I'm going to play this card, I'm considering multi-variant, where mini bosses are not drawn. There is a special pile for them. It's sad, but that's how it seems gonna be. It seems it's gonna be like that. Otherwise, outside that talk, right? What I want to say is, what has this guy has to do with clerics? I mean, man, I, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And talking about double clerics, this is you may destroy this room to force an opponent to discard a random spell card. I don't like discarding cards. I already talked about that. Again, I might still play this card because double cleric rooms are so bad. So I don't know. It's so boring. It's okay. That's enough for now. I'm going to stop a little because my throat is dry. If you're interested, I'm going to continue with the rest, but this is one for video 1.